My fiancée said, "I'm not wearing my engagement ring to work. Men treat me better when they think I'm single." I said, "Interesting strategy." Then I stopped wearing mine too and started actually being single. When she noticed mine was gone and I explained I was following her lead. Original post. I, 32 male, proposed to my fiancée last April. We've been together 4 years, lived together for 2. I'm an HVAC technician. I run service calls, deal with breakdowns, crawl through attics in August. It's honest work and it pays well, but I'm not exactly sitting behind a mahogany desk. She works in pharmaceutical sales, which means client dinners, conferences, and a whole lot of networking with doctors and hospital administrators. The ring cost me $6,200. Not a fortune by some standards, but for me, that was 4 months of setting aside cash while pretending I wasn't eating ramen 3 nights a week. It's a princess cut, half-carat, white gold band. She cried when I proposed. Said it was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. Posted it on every platform she's on. Got like 400 comments. Made her profile picture. The whole thing. So about 3 months ago, I noticed she wasn't wearing it. First time, she said she forgot it on the bathroom counter. Second time, she said she was worried about losing it at the gym. Third time, I didn't ask. I just watched. Over the next 2 weeks, I paid attention and realized she was consistently leaving it at home every single workday and putting it back on when she got home. Like clockwork. Off before she walked out the door. On when she came back. I finally asked her about it. Straight up. "Hey, I've noticed you're not wearing your ring to work anymore. What's going on?" And she said it. Casual as anything. Like she was telling me she'd switched to oat milk. "Oh, I stopped wearing to work a while ago. Men treat me better when they think I'm single. Clients are friendlier. I get more callbacks. My numbers are up. It's just a strategy, babe. It doesn't mean anything." I stared at her for a good 10 seconds. She was putting mascara on in the bathroom mirror, and she said this without even breaking her routine. Like it was the most logical thing in the world. I said, "Interesting strategy." She said, "Don't make it weird." I said, "I'm not making anything. Just processing." She kissed me on the cheek and left for work. Ring sitting on the bathroom counter next to her moisturizer. I picked it up, looked at it. $6,200 of doesn't mean anything sitting next to a bottle of CeraVe. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I went to work, crawled into an attic in a house with no insulation, replaced a blower motor, and thought about it for 8 straight hours while sweating through my shirt. Here's what I kept coming back to. She's not doing this by accident. She made a deliberate choice to present herself as single to other men because being perceived as available gets her better treatment. She didn't ask me. She didn't discuss it with me. She just decided that my ring, the one I sacrificed for, the one she cried over, was an obstacle to her professional performance. That night, I took off my ring and put it in my nightstand drawer. She didn't notice for 6 days. 6 days. On the 7th day, we were cooking dinner, and she grabbed my hand to pass me the salt and froze. "Where's your ring?" I didn't even look up from the stove. "Oh, I stopped wearing it. People treat me better when they think I'm single." The silence was deafening. I could hear the pasta water bubbling. "That's not funny," she said. "It wasn't a joke," I said. "You taught me this strategy. I'm just applying it. That's completely different." "Ow." "Because I'm doing it for work. For my career." "You're doing it to what?" "Flirt with people." I haven't flirted with anyone. But the lady at the supply house did give me a contractor discount she doesn't usually give. So you might be onto something. She put down the spatula and turned to face me fully. "Are you seriously going to be this petty about this?" I turned off the stove because I wanted to look her in the eyes for this part. "Let me make sure I understand. You could take off your ring every single day so that men you work with think you're available, and that's a smart career move. But if I take off my ring, I'm being petty? It's not the same thing, and you know it." "You're right, because I actually told you about it within 30 seconds of you asking. You hid it from me for weeks." She left the kitchen. Didn't eat dinner. I ate both portions of the pasta because I'm not wasting good penne. Reddit, I know what some of you are thinking, but I need to be clear. I wasn't playing a game. I was holding up a mirror. If taking off a ring doesn't mean anything, then it shouldn't matter when either of us does it. If it does matter when I do it, then maybe she needs to think about why it mattered when she did it first. Ring's still in the drawer. And honestly, I'm starting to think it's going to stay there. Update 1, 10 days later. Y'all, I'm back, and the story has layers now. Like an onion. Or a bad lasagna. Let me catch you up. After the pasta night confrontation, my fiancée did what I've come to learn is her default conflict resolution strategy. She called her mother. Her mom is a very specific kind of person. She's the type who'll tell you look tired as a greeting. She called me the next evening, and I could tell from my fiancé's face when she handed me the phone that this was supposed to be the fix-him call. Her mom started with, "Sweetheart, I heard you two are having a disagreement about the ring." Not really a disagreement. I'm just following her lead. Well, you know how the corporate world is. A woman has to use every advantage she has. It's not personal. I totally agree. Which is why I'm using every advantage I have too. That's different. You're a man. So equality only applies when it benefits her? Silence. Then, you're being difficult. I'm being consistent. But I appreciate the call. She handed the phone back to my fiancé, and I could hear her mom's voice going for another 3 minutes. Couldn't make out the words, but the tone was pure frustration. Now here's where things started to shift. About 4 days after that call, I came home from work, and my fiancée was sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open and her ring on her finger. Big show of it. She kept finding reasons to gesture with her left hand, tucking her hair behind her ear with it, picking up her water glass with maximum ring visibility. I said nothing, just noticed. Then she said, real casual, "I decided to start wearing my ring to work again." "Cool. So you can put yours back on too." "Nah, I'm good." The look on her face. "I wish I had a photograph." "What do you mean you're good?" "I mean, I've been thinking about it. You took yours off because it served you to appear single. I've been thinking about what it means that appearing single served you. And I'm not sure I like the conclusion. You're overthinking this." "Maybe. But here's what I know. In the 3 weeks you weren't wearing your ring, your phone was face down every night. You started keeping it on silent. You got 2 work dinners you didn't mention until day of. And you came home from your regional conference smelling like a cologne that isn't mine." She went white. Not red, white. I was sitting next to my district manager at dinner. He wears Tom Ford. It transfers. Must have been a pretty close dinner. "Are you accusing me of something?" "I'm describing what I observed. You can fill in whatever blanks you want." She started crying. Which, look, I'm not made of stone. Watching someone you love cry is awful. But I've learned the difference between tears that mean I'm hurting and tears that mean this line of questioning is getting too close. These felt like the second kind. Through the tears, she said, "I can't believe you don't trust me." I said, "I trusted you completely. Then you looked me in the eye and told me you hide your engagement ring so men treat you better. That's not a trust-building statement." She went to the bedroom, slammed the door. I slept on the couch that night. Not because she told me to, because I chose to. I needed to think. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made coffee for both of us. Smiled. Asked about my schedule for the day. Complete reset. I've noticed she does this after fights. Just pretends the conversation never happened, and if you bring it up again, you're the one who can't let things go. But something happened at work that day that changed the whole picture. I was on a service call at a medical office, replacing a condenser unit on the roof. When I came down, the office manager was chatting with me while I wrote up the invoice. Nice lady, probably mid-40s, been managing that office for years. We've talked before. She always offers me coffee. She mentioned they'd just had their holiday party for the pharmaceutical reps who service their office. She started telling me about it and then said, "Oh, you know what? Your fiancée was there. She's the rep for the pharma company, right?" I said, "Yeah." She said, she was there with her colleague. Tall guy, dark hair. They seemed really close. I assumed they were together until someone mentioned she was engaged. I kept my face neutral. Said something like, "Oh yeah, they work the same territory." But my hand was shaking writing the invoice. I drove to a parking lot after that call and sat in my van for 45 minutes. Not gonna lie, I felt like someone dropped a cinder block on my chest. Because here's the thing. She doesn't have a tall, dark-haired colleague that she's ever mentioned to me. She's told me about her team. Her direct supervisor is a woman. Her territory partner is a guy she described as older, married, kind of boring. Tall and dark-haired doesn't match anyone she's talked about. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I did something I'm not proud of but don't regret. I drove past the restaurant where she said she was having a client dinner 2 nights later. Her car was there, and in the passenger seat when she came out, tall guy, dark hair. He opened her car door for her. She laughed at something he said. He touched her lower back as she got in. I took 2 photos from across the street. Saved them. Drove home. Was in bed pretending to be asleep by the time she got back. She whispered, "Babe, you up?" when she came in. I didn't answer. She went to the bathroom. I heard the shower running at 11:30 p.m. after a client dinner. Reddit, I know what's happening. I just need to decide what I'm going to do about it. And I think I know. But it's not going to be loud. It's going to be quiet. And it's going to be thorough. More soon. Update 2, 2 weeks later. All right. Final update. This is a long one, but I owe you the full picture because you've been in the trenches with me, and you deserve the ending. After what I saw outside that restaurant, I spent the next week being the most normal, unbothered version of myself possible. I cooked dinner. I asked about her day. I watched TV with her on the couch. She was visibly relieved. She thought I'd gotten over it. She even made a joke about the ring thing. Said, "Remember when we had that silly fight about jewelry?" Like it was some cute little blip and not the thing that cracked open the entire foundation of our relationship. Meanwhile, I was quietly getting my life in order. First, the lease. Our apartment lease is in both our names, but it was up for renewal in 6 weeks. I called the leasing office and told them I would not be renewing. They said both parties needed to agree or one party could simply not renew and the lease would end. Fine by me. I documented that call with a follow-up email. Second, finances. We don't have joint accounts, thank God. We split rent and utilities through Venmo. I went through my bank statements and confirmed everything was clean on my end. Pulled my credit report just to be safe. All clear. Third, the ring. I called the jeweler where I bought it. Asked about their buyback policy. They offered me $2,800 for it. I said I'd think about it. Fourth, and this is the one that mattered most, I called my buddy who I've known since middle school. He's a family law paralegal. I told him the whole situation. He said since we weren't married, the legal separation was relatively simple. The engagement ring, depending on the state, could be considered a conditional gift, meaning if the engagement is broken, the ring might need to be returned to the giver. He said to document everything and not move out until I had a clear plan. I spent that week documenting. Every late night, work dinner. Every phone face-down moment. I didn't go through her phone. I want to be clear about that. I never touched her phone. I just wrote down the patterns. Dates, times, excuses. Then the universe handed me a gift. She left her iPad on the kitchen table, logged into iMessage, and a notification popped up while I was eating breakfast. I wasn't snooping. It was right there on the screen. A message from a contact saved as district office that read, "Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. District office." She saved him as district office. That's not even creative. I took a photo of the screen with my phone. Didn't open the message. Didn't scroll. Just captured what was already visible and walked away. I ate my cereal, and I swear everything tasted like cardboard. That night, I set my plan in motion. I waited until we were both home, both relaxed, sitting on the couch after dinner. She was scrolling her phone. I turned off the TV. "We need to talk." She looked up. "About what?" "About the fact that you've been seeing someone from work, and I know about it." The color drained from her face in real time. It was like watching a time lapse of someone aging 5 years in 3 seconds. "What are you talking about?" "Tall guy. Dark hair. You were with him at the medical office holiday party. You drove him to dinner 2 Thursdays ago. He opened your car door. And someone named District Office texted you this morning saying last night was amazing." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You went through my iPad?" It was on the kitchen table with the screen lit up. I didn't open anything. But nice deflection. Skip the denial and go straight to accusing me of invasion of privacy. That's taken out of context. What context makes last night was amazing? Can't stop thinking about you from a secret contact appropriate when you're engaged. She stood up, started pacing, then hit me with, "You pushed me to this. You've been cold and distant for weeks. You took off your ring. You made me feel like you didn't want me anymore." I almost respected the audacity. "Almost." I said, "I took off my ring after you took off yours." You started hiding yours months before I found out. So either you have a time machine or your timeline is off. It wasn't, we didn't. It was just emotional. Nothing physical happened. You showered at 11:30 p.m. after a client dinner with him. But sure, more tears. The full production. Hands shaking, mascara running, the whole scene. She said she was sorry, that it just happened, that he pursued her and she was confused because of our issues. I stayed calm. Not because I'm some robot. Trust me, my insides were on fire, but because I'd had 2 weeks to process this. The grieving was already mostly done. What I was doing now was executing. I said, I'm not renewing the lease. I've already notified the leasing office. You have 6 weeks to find a new place or take over the lease yourself, if they'll let you. I'll be moved out by the end of the month. You can't just. I can. I read the lease. Either party can decline renewal. I'm declining. Where are you going to go? That's not really your concern anymore. She tried a different angle. What about the ring? That ring cost you. I know what it cost me. And depending on how this goes, I may be asking for it back. My buddy in family law says it's a conditional gift. The condition was marriage. If we're not getting married, the ring comes back to me. That one landed. I could see the calculation happening in real time. She loves that ring. Not because of what it represents, because of what it looks like on her hand in photos. You're not getting this ring back. That's fine. We can let a judge decide. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and told her I was going to stay at my buddy's place for a few days. She followed me to the door. You're really going to throw away 4 years over this? I stopped, turned around, and I said the truest thing I've said in this entire mess. I didn't throw anything away. I caught you throwing it away, and I just stopped pretending it was still in my hands. Stayed at my buddy's for 3 days. During that time, the phone call started. Not from her. She actually went quiet, which told me she knew she was cooked. The calls came from her mom. Her mom left me a voicemail that was genuinely something. She said I was abandoning her daughter in her time of need, and that every couple goes through rough patches, and that I needed to man up and work through this. She also implied that if I tried to get the ring back, the family would make things difficult. I saved that voicemail too. Her sister texted me. First time she's ever texted me directly, and said, you know, she only did this because you emotionally neglected her, right? Maybe if you'd been more present, she wouldn't have needed attention from someone else. I responded, she hid her engagement ring so men would think she was single. That happened before any of the rest of it. If you think that's my fault, I don't know what to tell you. She left me on read. Now here's the part that was genuinely hard. Over the next week, I moved my stuff out. Slowly, a carload at a time, into my buddy's spare room. Every trip back to the apartment, she tried to talk. First it was bargaining. What if we do counseling? Then it was guilt. You're going to regret this when you're alone. Then it was anger. You never deserve me anyway. Then back to tears. Please don't do this. That last one almost got me. I won't lie. There was a moment, carrying a box of my books down the stairs, where I thought about what our life was supposed to look like. The wedding we'd started planning. The apartment we were going to upgrade to a house. Kids, eventually. And for a second, I want to put the box down, walk back upstairs, and pretend none of this happened. But I didn't, because pretending is what got me here. Last thing I took was the engagement ring. She'd left it on the bathroom counter, right back where this whole story started. I picked it up, put it in my pocket, and left the key on the kitchen table. I sold it back to the jeweler for $2,800. Yeah, I lost $3,400 on it. That stings. But you know what costs more than $3,400? Marrying someone who hides your ring so other men will approach her and then blames you when one of them does. My buddy helped me find a studio apartment, month-to-month lease. It's small. It's mine. I've got a couch, a TV, a bed, and a kitchen that's basically a closet with a stove. But when I come home, nobody's ring is missing from the counter. Nobody's phone is face down on the table. Nobody's showering at midnight after a client dinner. The quiet took some getting used to. First couple of nights, I just sat there in the silence feeling like something was missing. And something was. But the thing that was missing had been missing for a lot longer than I realized. I'd just been filling the gap with denial. Last thing, and then I'm done. 2 days ago, I ran into the office manager from that medical office, the one who inadvertently tipped me off. She was at the auto parts store of all places. She recognized me and said hi. We chatted for a minute and she said, kind of carefully, I hope I didn't cause any trouble with what I said about the holiday party. I told her she didn't cause any trouble. She uncovered trouble that was already there. And I told her, honestly, that I was grateful. She said, my ex-husband did the same thing. Took off his ring for work. I ignored it for 3 years. Don't be me. I told her I wouldn't be. So here I am, Reddit. 32 years old, living in a studio, eating a microwave burrito on a couch. I got off a marketplace listing for $120, minus one fiancé and $3,400 in ring depreciation. My left hand feels weird without the band. Sometimes I catch myself reaching for my phone to text her something funny I saw, and then I remember. But here's the thing. That ring was supposed to be a promise. And a promise only means something if both people keep it. She stopped keeping it. The first morning, she left it on the bathroom counter and walked out the door, pretending to be single. Everything after that was just the consequence catching up to the choice. I don't hate her. I want to sometimes because hate is easier than hurt. But mostly I just feel tired. And underneath the tired, somewhere deep, I feel something that might eventually turn into relief. The ring is gone. The apartment is gone. The future we planned is gone. But I'm still here. And for the first time in months, I'm not pretending to be okay. I'm actually starting to be. To everyone who messaged me after the first post telling me to trust my gut, you were right. The gut knew before the brain caught up. Always does. Take care of yourselves, Reddit. And if someone takes off a ring they cried over receiving, pay attention, because that's not a strategy. That's a tell.